Alexander Isak,
Not world class.
Victor Gyökeres,
Not world class.
Erling Haaland,
Potential.
Julian Alvarez,
Not world class.
Lautaro Martinez,
Not world class.
Omar Mamouche,
Not world class.
Marcus Thuram,
Not world class.
Kylian Mbappe,
World class.
Harry Kane,
World class.
João Pedro,
Potential.
Hugo Ekitike,
Potential.
Nicholas Jackson,
Not world class.
Gabriel Jesus,
Not world class.
Dominic Solanke.
Not world class.
Allow me to interrupt this regularly scheduled programming with this very, very important production. My name is Tunde Young, and this is episode 7 of the TNT Talk Sports Show. Welcome. Your weekly digest of what happened in sports over the previous weekend, and even looking forward to the new week. So there's a lot to talk about. You've already heard my highlights of the week to start the show, which is Jimmy Floyd Hasselbaink basically saying Kylian Mbappe is the only world-class player in football right now, listing Erling Haaland as potential, listing João Pedro as potential, saying Alexander Isak is not world class, and so on and so forth. And the only person that got the world class nod was Kylian Mbappe and Harry Kane. So those two, which are obviously fair. But Erling Haaland not world class. I'm willing to bet money that Haaland has probably already surpassed Hasselbaink. No disrespect to the Dutch legend, Chelsea legend. 3-time Premier League Golden Boot winner, 1-time Golden Boot winner in La Liga with Atletico Madrid. So it's definitely one of the greats, and it's well within his rights to speak on this topic. But to say that Haaland is just potential and not world class is ridiculous coming from anybody, no matter who you are, no matter what you achieved. But hey, no matter who you are, no matter how you had your weekend, I'm guaranteeing you 1 hour of fun, education, information, and just good vibes. My name is Tunde Young again, like I mentioned. Tosin will not be joining us today, so we're not doing another sports with Tosin today. But we'll still talk everything football. And in fact, let me just say, it's supposed to be a sports show, but this is entirely football. I'm sorry, because I like to talk about what I focused on, and since the NBA season has not started, I'm not watching a lot of basketball right now. Those are my 2 main sports. Of course, I cover other sports as a sports journalist, but the 2 sports I enjoy watching, football and basketball. So since basketball is not in season right now, few more days till we tip off in October, I'm stuck with football. So just let's call it the TNT Talk Football Show, at least for this episode 7. But the highlight of the weekend, sporting wise for me, was the Madrid derby. Many could have said they expected an Atletico Madrid win. Many would say they expect a Real Madrid win. If you expected a draw in the Madrid derby, you would not have been wrong. But not a single soul on earth, not one person could have said they predicted Atletico Madrid 5, Real Madrid 2. So that was what was happening on Saturday. A coupon buster to the core, and we'll get to all the coupon busters eventually on the segment of the show where we deal with that. But for now, let me talk about what happened at the Wanda Metropolitano, or whatever their new sponsor name is, what they call the stadium now. But incredible performance from Atletico Madrid, who came into the game in bad form. I think this is just their 2nd win of the season. So all signs pointed to a Real Madrid win, and not even like supposed to be close. All signs pointed to Real Madrid winning. Real Madrid had won every single game under Xabi Alonso so far to start the season before this game, and came into this one pouring, had the best defensive record in La Liga before this game, because they had only conceded 3 in their first 6. So to now go on to concede 5 against a Diego Simeone team, who God knows the last time they even scored 5 goals. I don't think they've scored 5 goals since the 90s. I'm sure that is correct, but I can't prove it. Maybe before the end of the episode I'll find the stats. But yeah, Robin Lenormand, Alexander Sørloth on the score sheet, Julian Alvarez with 2 goals, and Antoine Griezmann breaking his duck, 26 games without a goal, and he broke that jinx against Real Madrid in the biggest game possible, in the biggest way possible. So congratulations to Atletico Madrid, who have been able to break a they've been quite underwhelming so far this side of the season, with lots of talk about Diego Simeone's future and whether or not he should, be in charge of this team. I beg your pardon, this is their third win of the season. So they, after beating Villarreal and Rayo Vallecano last week, and now they beat Real Madrid. So third win of the season for Atletico Madrid. We'll now move up to 5th on the log, while Real Madrid drop to 2nd behind FC Barcelona. So yeah, that's my highlights of the weekend in sports. As you can see, I'm donning the Chelsea jersey, so I'm a Chelsea fan. And at the same time, when this was happening to Real Madrid, my own too was happening to me. Chelsea losing at home to Brighton. We'll get into all of that later on. Earlier in the week in sports, not even earlier in the week because it happened last week, but even though it's now still, I still have to say congratulations to Ousmane Dembele, the reigning best player in the world, crowned the Ballon d'Or winner. I spoke about it on the show last week where I said I was hoping he won it, even though it looked like Lamine Yamal might have just edged him. But at the end of the day, Ousmane Dembele won, and it's looking like we're back in the era of football. Where the era of football that I remember, I'm realizing a lot of football fans today did not watch football pre-Messi and Ronaldo. It is not normal for somebody to just be winning Ballon d'Or every year. It is quite, in my experience, it's quite normal for us to have different Ballon d'Or winners every year. And there are lots of young football fans that are just experiencing this for the first time in their life. So that's the football I want to sign up for. Multiple players win it because it's about who has the best year every year. And I don't want one single player just continually having the best year every single year. So congratulations to Ousmane Dembele. Also last week, Graham Potter was fired. Yeah, Graham Potter was fired in what was ironically probably the greatest week of his life. The West Ham fans had a trend going on throughout the entire last week where they just replaced every picture on the internet with face of Graham Potter, every single picture on the internet. And it was funny, it was fun, and the pre-game press conference ahead of the weekend on Friday, Potter was asked about it and he said he had seen it, he made jest of it, he laughed, talking about his 15-year-old son showing him the memes and the images, only for him to get fired the next day before West Ham even had a chance to play. So congratulations to Graham Potter, who I would say probably did the best he could, even though his best was not nearly enough. Nobody can say it wasn't justified for West Ham to not have fired him. Since Potter's first game in charge of West Ham United on the 14th of January 2025, West Ham have won fewer points than any other present Premier League side, 23. Since that time, even fewer than Ruben Amorim and Manchester United, which should already tell you everything that you need to know. That in my opinion, is the real sackable offense. In fact, according to Opta, more West Ham stats, if there are any West Ham fans listening, only Avram Grant with 0.9 had a lower points per game average in the Premier League among West Ham managers than Graham Potter, who averaged exactly 1 point per game. So, bye-bye to Graham Potter, and welcome to Nuno Espirito Santo, who seemed to have hacked the Premier League mid-table job market. After falling out with Nottingham Forest owner Evangelos Marinakis, Nuno Espirito Santo landed on his feet like a cat with 9 lives, and is now in charge of the London outfit, East London West Ham United. And he loves to punch above his weight, so hopefully he will be able to guide West Ham away from the murky waters of relegation where they are currently battling in right about now. What else happened last week? FIFA proposed a 64-team World Cup. At this point, we might as well just let the whole world play the World Cup. Scrap qualifiers. Play the World Cup. Everybody just play. I think instead of qualifiers, let the FIFA World Cup start in your regions. Let your regions be the group stage. I know this also sounds like it's the qualifying system, but it's not. Let the group stages start in your respective regions, and after that we just play the biggest knockout round competition ever, and it's just one out. one game out until we get to the final. We end up playing like 11, 12, maybe even 13 games to figure out who wins the World Cup. But I think it's going to be worth it if that's what we're going to do, because 64-team World Cup in 2030, that's the proposal we are hearing, and I don't know how I feel about it. We are literally going to a World Cup that is about to be expanded for the first time since the normal 32-team World Cup. This is a 46-team World Cup, if I'm not mistaken, 46 or 48, going in USA, Mexico, and Canada in 2026. And then after that, we are hearing that it might be 64. That is crazy. It's ridiculous. But regardless, at least maybe it will make it easier for Nigeria to qualify. Who knows? Speaking of Nigeria qualifying for the World Cup, it doesn't look like we are going to qualify yet, but we have gotten a major shot in the arm. The Super Eagles of Nigeria have gotten a big boost in Group C of the CAF FIFA World Cup qualifier. That's the CAF edition of FIFA World Cup qualifiers, where South Africa have been docked 3 points for fielding an ineligible player, the Tebogo Mokoena, against Lesotho. South Africa won that game 3-0 originally. They've now been docked those 3 points, with the 3 points awarded to Lesotho and 3 goals awarded to Lesotho. So, advantage Benin Republic, who are now top of that group on goal difference with 14 points. South Africa dropped down to 14 points as well. FIFA put out a statement. FIFA Disciplinary Committee sanctioned South Africa Football Association. The FIFA Disciplinary Committee has sanctioned the South Africa Football Association (SAFA) for having fielded an illegible player, Tebogo Mokoena, in the South Africa versus Lesotho match played on 21st of March 2025 in the FIFA World Cup 2026 preliminary competition, thereby breaching Article 19 of the FIFA Disciplinary Code and Article 14 of the FIFA World Cup 2026 preliminary competition regulations. Consequently, the FIFA Disciplinary Committee has declared the match in question to have been forfeited by the representative team of South Africa by a score of 3-0. SAFA has also been ordered to pay a fine of 10,000 Swiss francs to FIFA. FIFA must shall cash out in any situation. While Tebogo Mokoena has been issued with a warning, the parties were notified of the terms of the FIFA Disciplinary Committee decisions today in accordance with the relevant provisions of the FDC. They have 10 days in which to request a motivated decision, which, if requested, would subsequently be published on legal.fifa.com. The forfeiture decision remains subject to a potential appeal before the FIFA Appeal Committee. So, yeah, South Africa have 10 days to appeal this decision. I doubt that they will, because they absolutely did field an illegible player. The only grounds for appeal that they have is also somewhere in FIFA books. It says if it is not noticed immediately or called out immediately by the team involved, then it can no longer be challenged. So maybe South Africa's appeal would be that they should have gotten away with it because Lesotho did not protest immediately this happened. Who knows? And by letter of the law, they will be right about that. But right now, what we know is that the Super Eagles of Nigeria have a sliver of a chance. 3 points behind both Benin Republic and South Africa as it stands. Nigeria in third with 11 points. While Benin Republic have 14 points and South Africa have 14 points. What does that mean? 2 games coming up in October are absolutely win or bust. In fact, they will always win or bust. But now, not only are they still win or bust, the games against at home to Benin Republic, who are a direct rival. So you beat Benin Republic, you tie on points with them, you probably edge them on goal difference as well. And away at Lesotho. So if the Super Eagles win those 2 games, in one hand you've disadvantaged Benin Republic and probably sealed second position. But then we now have to hope that after winning our 2 games, we now have to hope that South Africa, Bafana drop at least 3 of their remaining 6 points, which is looking unlikely because they play against Zimbabwe and Lesotho. And logic says they will probably win at least one of those games. So from South Africa's perspective, this is bad news. But if you win one game and draw the other, you are through to the World Cup without question. Not without question, because Benin Republic are still on their heels. That's assuming that Benin Republic don't lose to the Super Eagles. But for Benin, I think Benin Republic are the main beneficiaries of this decision. General, our former coach, it will be very, very poetic. It will be very poetic if General, who was fired by the Super Eagles of Nigeria, takes Benin Republic to their first ever World Cup in place of the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Because right now, it's advantage Benin. They're top of this group with goal difference because 3 goals was added to South Africa's minus column. So it's all shaping up to be very interesting international break in October. But as interesting as October is going to be, I think November might also be pretty fun from a Nigerian perspective, where we have announced 2 big friendlies against Venezuela and Colombia. The Super Eagles will play Venezuela and Colombia in friendly games in the United States of America. So yeah, looking forward to it. November 14th against Venezuela and November 18th against Colombia, according to a statement put out by the NFF. So there's still that one is still further in front. What we care about is what is going to happen against Benin Republic and Lesotho. Can it be done? Can the Super Eagles of Nigeria still qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup? I guess we have about a month to find out whether or not it can be done. Let's move on to the highlights of football Twitter from the weekend. And of course, Eta Central continues to shine. This time around, catching the attention of Nigerians because he trolled Calvin Bassey. Says Calvin Bassey versus Aston Villa. 1 error, 1 yellow card, 10 possessions lost, 0 area duels won, and he let Watkins score in 2025. That just seems very, very specific. And the tag is, don't have to sag to show us, we can just watch you play. A play on Calvin Bassey always sagging, and this tweet has 3.4 million views. Nigerians have been crying in the comments. It's sweet to laugh at other people countryman until he reached the Nigerian side. So congratulations to Calvin Bassey, I guess. A few other tweets caught my eye, but a lot of them were actually stats. A crazy stat I saw over the weekend. A number of crazy stats. First one, 6 players have scored in their first 2 Premier League home games for Newcastle. Les Ferdinand, Alan Shearer, Carlos Cordoni, Papi Cisse, Musa Sissoko, and now Nicolas Woltemade is just the 2nd German player to score a Premier League goal for Newcastle against Arsenal after Dietmar Hamann in February 1999. Woltemade scored for Newcastle the opening goal for Newcastle against Arsenal on Sunday, but Arsenal ended up equalizing and even winning that game thanks to a late goal by Gabriel Magalhaes. Newcastle's opening goal was just the 4th time in Premier League history that an Italian player has assisted a German player for a goal. These are very, very niche stats. Shout out to Squawker. Bertie for Klinsmann. Bertie assisting Klinsmann in May 1999. Jorginho assisting Havertz in March 2022. Jorginho assisting Havertz again in April 2024, but that time for Arsenal. The first one was for Chelsea. Tonali assisting Woltemade in September 2025. There's another stats that I want to quickly run through. According to Opta, Maxime Esteve, who scored 2 own goals for Burnley in their 5-0 defeat against Manchester City on Saturday, is only the 6th player to ever score 2 own goals in the same Premier League game, and the first since Craig Dawson did it for Everton, for Wolves against Everton in December 2024. The list of double own goal scorers in Premier League history include the one, the only, the man, the myth, the legend, Jamie Carragher, 1999 for Liverpool versus Manchester United. Michael Proctor in 2003, Sunderland versus Charlton. Jonathan Walters, I remember watching this game, I was in uni at the time, for Stoke City against Chelsea. I think Eden Hazard scored a worldie in this game as well. 2013, Wout Faes in 2022 for Leicester City against Liverpool. I mentioned Craig Dawson earlier in 2024 for Wolverhampton Wanderers against Everton. And now Maxime Esteve completes the 6th for Burnley against Manchester City. So look forward to who will become the first defender or the first player to score a hat-trick of own goals. That one has not happened thus far. There were nine goals scored in the 90th minute or later in the Premier League this weekend. 9. This was a weekend of late action, which also led to lots of tickets cutting. I'll get to that to go on. But Haaland scored in the 90th minute for Manchester City against Burnley. Maxim the Kuiper scored in the second minute of additional time, 90+2 for Brighton against Chelsea. Krupi Jr. scored in the 93rd minute for Bournemouth versus Leeds United. In the 93rd minute, Haaland again for Manchester City versus Burnley. João Palhinha equalized in the 94th minute for Tottenham against Wolves. That game ended 1-1. Matthias Jensen scored in the 95th minute for Brentford against Manchester United to make it 3-1 and seal the results. Eddie Nketiah scored in the 97th minute for Crystal Palace, the winning goal against Liverpool to win 2-1. And Danny Welbeck scored in the 100 minutes, that's 90+10 for Brighton versus Chelsea. That's 8 of them happening on Saturday, and then Gabriel Magalhaes in the 96 minutes for Arsenal against Newcastle United to seal a weekend of late action. So yeah, those are the tweets that caught my eye in football Twitter this weekend. Let's move swiftly on to coupon busters. Who got your ticket last weekend? In fact, I think the better question to ask is who did not cut your ticket last weekend? Because if you win anything, you are a wizard and we'll have to burn you at the stake. Because Chelsea, United losing is no longer a surprise. But Chelsea, Real Madrid, Liverpool, Tottenham all failed to win this weekend in very winnable games, might I add. It was a crazy run of events. Started with Chelsea on Saturday, 3-1 at home to Brighton and Hove Albion. Even though Chelsea have not been in great form, you will still expect that they should not lose at home to Brighton. Brighton are making 3 consecutive wins against Chelsea. So those two teams love doing business with one another. They also absolutely love beating one another. In fact, this weekend was the first time since 1994. The first time since 1994, according to Squawka, that each of Chelsea, Liverpool, and Manchester United all lost on the same day in the Premier League. The last time it happened was April 18th, 1994, when Arsenal beat Chelsea by 1-0, Newcastle beat Liverpool by 2-0, and Wimbledon beat Manchester United by 1-0. These 3 teams have not lost all together on the same day since that time. It is so. If you did not win this weekend, don't hold yourself. Don't take it too badly. It's literally a cosmic shift. Things that have not happened in 31 years have happened over this weekend. So it is quite understandable that the dice did not roll in our favor. Quite a number of teams ruined tickets this weekend. I don't want to keep reliving the PTSD, and also I have quite a bit to talk about. So let me move on from the coupon busters. But yes, Liverpool losing 2-1 away at Crystal Palace, meaning that Crystal Palace are now 18 games unbeaten. This team continues to surprise everybody, despite losing Eberechi Eze, who you say is their best player. Not necessarily. They've made good signings. Pino is a decent signing, but it's not on Eze's level. But the star of the team just so far appears to be Oliver Glasner, and I would like you to see his level of excitement in the post-game interview after Crystal Palace scored that late winning goal through Eddie Nketiah.
Now over 50, they should look after my heart. It could make it a little bit easier to relax a little bit earlier. And then on the other side, this is why we love football. Having this at the end, and then in front of our fans, in front of the stand, it was just so great. And then I wanted to run to the players, but after 5 yards, I stopped because I remembered I conceded a yellow card once, and I always then I have to pay something for the team, and this is. Then my wife gets upset with me, and then so it was the better way.
Those were the words of Oliver Glasner. I'm still happy and chirpy. Moving on to a manager that is not very happy at the moment, nor has he been happy for a long time. Ruben Amorim could not capitalize on the feel good of the Chelsea win from the previous weekend. They went straight back to losing ways against Brentford, and United remain without a consecutive run of wins under Ruben Amorim. Meaning that the minute United win a game, you can bet your life that they are going to lose the next game. Do you know how crazy that is? There's a guy that has been keeping his air for until United win 5 games in a row. They've not even done 2 in a row. Manchester United have not won 2 Premier League games back to back under Ruben Amorim. They have 9 wins in 9 months, and you people are still taking this thing like it's not a matter of life and death. Still saying give him time. Okay, continually give him time. I think I've exhausted my thoughts on Ruben Amorim on this show. Liverpool also lost. I don't think it's anything to look into, even though it's been coming. They've been having way too many close shaves, too many late winning goals. They even did it in this game. Chiesa late equalizer, and they ended up conceding an even later winning goal. So they got Liverpool, I guess you can say that. But and it's not as a lot to look into ahead of the Champions League. Real Madrid, I don't know if this is a flash in the pan. I don't know if this is a blip. But Real Madrid cannot lose 5-2 to anybody, let alone Atletico Madrid in the derby. I mentioned Chelsea, and it's time to talk about Chelsea. What exactly is the problem? Chelsea Football Club. What is the problem? Is it Enzo Maresca? Is it the board? Is it the club owners? Is it the players? Is it just unfortunate with injuries? What is the problem? If you want to be optimistic, you will say Chelsea have only lost once in the last 6 months, while it is 11v11, which means that 4 of Chelsea's last 5 defeats have come with red cards, which provides a bit of context if you are already trying to feel positive about it. But if you are not trying to feel positive about the situation is that Chelsea only have 1 win in their last 5. 3 losses in the last 5 games against Bayern Munich, Manchester United, and Brighton. The 1 win was a struggle come from behind 2-1 win against League One Lincoln City. So nothing to be particularly excited about so far in the Chelsea camp, which has of course triggered blame game. Everybody wants to know who is at fault. And there's a bit of fault to go around, but the magnitude of the fault on the doorstep of the owners, of the directors, in my opinion, is ginormous. I've always maintained that I do not see the point of this project. What is the end game of every footballing project? To build a good team. To build a team that is, at least for Chelsea's level, to build a team that is one of the best teams in the world and consistently competes for titles. There are two primary ways to build a team. If you have money, you sign the best players in the world. You build your team. If you don't have money, you buckle down, you scout, you become very cheap, but you are prioritizing value for every single signing, which means that you have to focus on youth, you have to focus on potential. You might not win every game, you might not win immediately, but eventually they will come good and they can still help you compete in the moment. Prime example of that was Arsenal. Arsene Wenger from 2008 till he left Arsenal, basically. Let's say 2006-7 to exactly 2013. It was an entirely youth-based project because they were spending all their money on building the stadium. They couldn't afford the best players in the world, so they gave him the job of grooming the team, like grooming players and just snatching bargains here and there. Lots of clubs have adopted that model over the years, even currently in world football. That's what the likes of Benfica, Dortmund, Ajax, PSV, that's what they do. Brighton in the Premier League scouts very well, bring in talented young players, give them time to develop. You will not win every game, but you will still be somewhat competitive, at least in relativity to your own dreams. the point is that you're not spending a lot of money. These players have high upside. You get to sell them for a lot more money, and even if you don't sell them, or before you sell them, you still play good football and pick up enough points to achieve your goals in the middle of that season. The other option is what Chelsea used to do. Roman Abramovich Chelsea used to do. Sign the very best players on the market that are available to you that want to come to your club, and then just win. It seems very easy, but Chelsea, Blue Co, Todd Bowley, Bregda Degbali, the directors have brought in an unprecedented third option. I don't think I've ever seen this in the history of football, which is spend more money than anybody else, 1.5 billion in 3 years, 1.5 billion Great British pounds in 3 years. Spend way more money than anybody else, blow everybody else out of the water in terms of transfer expenditure, and somehow still have a squad that needs Tyreek George. It's crazy. It's crazy as I say it. It's crazy as I say it out loud. It really is. I cannot. I kid you not. As a Chelsea fan, it bothers me. But even as, because okay, what would have to happen for this project to have been certified successful? What Chelsea win the Champions League in 5 years? Chelsea have won the Champions League already. What's going to happen? Chelsea win the league, build a good team and win the league in 3 for 5 years. How does that make it? How does that make this worthwhile? This is not a youth developmental center. That's the only thing that could possibly make this, that you could say is going to be successful part of this project is, you got to groom young players and they now became world-class players at your club, which would only make sense if they were your academy players, but they are not. These are players that you are spending 40-50 million to sign. Of what use would it be to anybody if Jamie Bino Gittins turns out to be a world-class player 10 years from now? So you sign him for 55 million. He's supposed to be that's world-class player money. Who does it help if Liam Delap turns out to be a world beater? So you are spending premium on these players. If you have money to spend premium, then sign premium. It goes without saying. So for me, the bulk of the blame will always be on the doorstep of the club owners. The foundation of the entire project has been wobbly, has been shaky from the start. Does not make any sense, defeats all logic, and absolutely, there's nothing I can do. I just have to witness it as a Chelsea fan. There's literally nothing I can do. Because even when you try to offer logic to other Chelsea fans, they attack you. I don't think there are any Chelsea fans left. I think a lot of people that are left right now are Blue Co fans. They feel like they have to support every single thing that the hierarchy of the club is doing. So not that Enzo Maresca is not without blame in the 3 defeats in the last 5 games, especially in the games with red card. His decision making could have been better. But even the way Enzo Maresca arrived at the club and became Chelsea coach is indicative of the manager, the club owners and the directors not knowing what they are doing. Not to say Maresca is not a good coach, he's a good young coach, promising, and has shown a lot of promise so far in charge of Chelsea. But then again, who sacks Thomas Tuchel and then goes to Enzo Maresca? I don't know. I don't know any top team that would do that. That's my 2 cents on Chelsea Football Club. I'm deeply unhappy with the direction of this project, and I think that the Club World Cup clouded a lot of people's judgments about how good or bad this Chelsea team is. This is compared to the quality that other top teams have in the league. This is not a good squad. Chelsea have what? The entire squad planning. You got, again, I have to be fair. There have been lots of injuries. Liam Delap, Levi Colwill, lots of injuries. Chelsea are second on the injury table in the Premier League. That does not count for nothing. That is absolutely devastating to any club's plans if you have that many key players out. But if you go into a season, because the last injury was even before the transfer window closed, But by then, Chelsea's business was pretty much already done up front. If you go into a season and Liam Delap, who had not even scored the Premier League goal for Chelsea, having an injury could potentially ruin your season, then you have not built your squad well. You cannot go into a season with Liam Delap and João Pedro as your two centre-forward options. Doesn't work in any way, shape or form. Doesn't help anybody. I don't see the point of that. So again, I think I've been very clear. I think the directors, the club owners, the hierarchy of the club, the people in charge of the club have not done a great job to put the club in the best possible position, given the resources that they have. Because you cannot say that you don't have money when you are spending 1.5 billion on all these players. So those are my 2 cents on Chelsea Football Club. Chelsea turned our attention to the Champions League this midweek. On Tuesday, Chelsea will host Benfica. Jose Mourinho returns to Stamford Bridge, and I'll probably talk about that in a bit, but let me just run through some of the results from the weekend. Tottenham Wolves ended 1-1. Sunderland beat Nottingham Forest at home by 0-0. Another tickets buster. Manchester City 5-1 winners against Burnley. Leeds 2, Bournemouth 2, very entertaining fixture. Crystal Palace 2, Liverpool 1. Chelsea 1, Brighton 3, Brentford 3, Manchester United 1 in the Premier League on Saturday. In the Bundesliga, Heidenheim, Augsburg ended 2-1 in favour of Heidenheim. Dortmund 1-2 away at Mainz. Karim Adeyemi has been on fire. A smoky start to the season. He scored again in that game to secure the 2-0 win for Borussia Dortmund against Heidenheim. That's now 3 consecutive games in which he has scored, 5 consecutive games in which he has scored or assisted now. So this is a player that is on super form. Bayer Leverkusen, since sacking Ten Hag, have returned to winning ways, and they won again 2-1 away at St. Pauli. So congratulations to them. RB Leipzig 1-0 winners away at Wolfsburg. I don't think I've seen a 6-4 scoreline in real life in my entire life, but it happened in the Bundesliga on Saturday. Mönchengladbach 4, Eintracht Frankfurt 6, such an FC 25 scoreline. But in fact, Frankfurt were up by 6-0 in the 47th minute, and then from 72 to the 99th minute, Mönchengladbach pulled 4 back. This must have been a crazy game to watch. Unfortunately, I was not able to watch it. In the Serie A, Como Cremonese ended 1-1. Juventus Atalanta also ended 1-1. Inter won 2-0 away at Cagliari. In La Liga, Getafe Levante 1-1. Atletico Madrid 5, Real Madrid 2, mentioned that already. Mallorca 1-0 winners against Alaves. And Villarreal 1-0 winners against Athletic Club de Bilbao. On Sunday, in the Premier League, Aston Villa 3-1 winners against Fulham. Newcastle lost 1-2 at home to Arsenal. Mentioned that already. Nice 1, Paris 1 in the French League 1. Angers 2-0 losers at home to Brest. Lyon beats Lille 1-0 away from home. Metz Le Havre ended goalless as did Ron Line. So that is the roundup from Europe. Forgot to mention La Liga on Sunday. Rayo Vallecano lost at home to Sevilla. Late winning goal by Akko Adams, who I will mention later on in the Nigerian players update segment. Elche 2-1 winners at home to Celta de Vigo. Barcelona 2-1 winners at home to Real Sociedad at Montjuic. Still not back at the Camp Nou so far. Betis 2-0 winners against Osasuna. In the MPFL, there were 7 games, I beg your pardon, I believe 7 games, I think, over the weekend. Yeah, exactly 7 games. Ikorodu City 1, Enyimba 1, Wiki Tourist 2, Rangers International 2. Shooting Stars 1-2-1 away from home against Warri Wolves. Barao FC 1-3-1 away from home against Kun Khalifa. There were only 2 home wins in the weekend, which is unheard of on NPFL standard. Well, not really, because over the last 2-3 years, the results have been more fluid. National United beating Katsina United by 2-0. Plateau United beating El Kanemi by 1-0. Pendant Insurance and Bayelsa United ended 1-1. But the one I want to talk about was Nigerian team's performance on the continent, in Africa. The the going did not go, the getting did not go so good. I mean, the going did not get so good. However, the English is spoken. In the CAF Confederations Cup, the two Nigerian representatives are now out. Abia Warriors were falling by Joliba, while Kwara United lost at home to Ashanti Kotoko of Ghana. The Kwara United one is the one I want to focus on because it was very, very interesting last week when Kwara United went to Ghana and lost by 4-3. Very, very entertaining game. Lost 4-3, and their coach, Tunde Saliu, had this to say.
Ashanti Kotoko, we don't know that they are even better like this. Our assertion is not what we met, but they are a bit luckier today. That's it. They are a bit luckier, but they are coming to meet us at home as well.
You heard the man. He said they are coming to meet us at home as well. They were lucky. He said Asante Kotoko were lucky, and he was right to be in such high spirits and such braggadocious mode, because when you go away from home, you score 3 goals, lose 4-3, and you are coming back to your own home, you feel like, you know, if we have scored 3 away from home, we can score more than 2 at home. It did not happen like that for Tunde Saliu and his Kwara United team. They lost 1-0 at home to Asante Kotoko in Abeokuta, and it ended 5-3 on aggregate, and now Kwara United are out of the continental competitions entirely. And there's a quote attributed to Abdul Karim Zito. I don't have a video of it, that's why I'm not entirely sure it's a real quote, but Abdul Karim Zito, Asante Kotoko head coach, said Kwara United's coach, who doesn't even have a license, was talking nonsense when I beat him in Ghana. I taught him sense by beating him again today. That's the kind of basketballs that we see in African football. Tunde Saliu also spoke again after losing at home to Kwara United, but this time his voice was more contrite, and you know, it sounded more defeated, full of regrets.
Right, so coach is Boye from 54 football legs. So this is Boye from 54 football legs. Coach, you said when you told us that when they come to Nigeria that they are going to see, but it's unfortunate that this has happened. What are your post-match thoughts, coach?
Yes, I was highly disappointed in my players. Can you see the number of chances we created and the missed chances? Can you see it? I'm highly disappointed. Because how can we that we scored 3 goals over there, how can we be seeing chances here? We couldn't even convert woman. It was a sorry situation.
Coach, what will have gone wrong? You have as the head of the technical crew. What will have gone wrong?
Yes, you see, at times it is like this. But today, at least, I don't know whether they have been carried away or a detention in them, that they want to win at all costs. We are looking for that first goal at all costs. But look at the goal we considered. It was so painful.
Will you be disappointed if Kwara United sack you? Hello, please. You signify and we call you, please. Huh? Okay. Will you be disappointed if Kwara United officials sack you after this disappointment?
It is normal. It's normal thing. Even in abroad, they can sack anybody at any time. So that is not a story. Yeah, because that question I don't know how to address it. If I say that question is stupid, you think that I'm abusing. You understand? Because there's tension in everybody now. How can you?
So thank you for Football Legs for that clip from the post-game interview from Coach Tunde Sani after his team lost and they were crashed out of the continental stages in the CAF Confederations Cup. So the going is still going well for the teams in the CAF Champions League. Rivers United advanced against FC Agles, as did Remo Stars. Both of those teams now have difficult games coming up in the next round of the CAF Champions League qualifiers, where Remo Stars will face Mamelodi Sundowns, which is basically a straight out of their tickets, and Rivers United will face Black Bulls, so they have the slightly easier fixture, but rooting for the Nigerian teams to remain on the continent, at least make it to the group stage of Africa's premier club competition. So that's where we are on Nigerian football on the continent. So we'll get to the rest later, but let's talk about European football on the continent. This midweek, blockbuster Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, everything happening everywhere all at once, and I cannot wait. I already mentioned earlier that Chelsea will be hosting Benfica on Tuesday. Jose Mourinho gets his big homecoming. Will Chelsea get their first? Chelsea get their only the second win in the last 6 games, and be able to end this bad run that they've been on. I do not know. Benfica have also, since appointing Jose Mourinho, won 2 and drawn 1 of their games. So Benfica come into this in high spirits. But I don't think that Benfica will beat Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea will win either, because Chelsea have too many injuries. We are hearing that João Pedro, Caicedo, Cucurella, all of them are even about to be added to the injury list. So there are too many injuries. But the primary reason Benfica will not beat Chelsea is because for Benfica to win, Jose Mourinho has to be trying to win, which Jose Mourinho will not do. Jose Mourinho primarily will see this game as an opportunity to hold Chelsea to a draw. And a draw would be considered a successful result for the Portuguese team because of their manager. It is just who he is. It is what he does when he's the underdog. So I don't see Benfica beating Chelsea. If Benfica play on the front foot, they probably can and will beat Chelsea if they play on the front foot. But I don't think that they will because of who their coach is. No disrespect to Jose Mourinho, one of my favorite coaches of all time, one of my favorite Chelsea coaches of all time. But it is what it is. I don't think at this stage of his career he has the mental fortitude to carry Benfica to Stamford Bridge and say go and beat Chelsea for me. I don't see that happening. So even though Chelsea are going to be missing lots of key players, I still think that I think this is going to be a draw. And Chelsea win or draw. That's what I'll say. And for all of Chelsea's bad form, they have a stunning record at Stamford Bridge. This loss at home to Brighton was the first time Chelsea lost a game at Stamford Bridge since the Conference League defeat 2-1 at home to Legia Warsaw all the way back in April. And those are the only 2 losses at home in 2025. So Chelsea are very solid at home, and I don't see how Benfica are going to come and wrangle more than 1 point at Stamford Bridge. Other games to look forward to on Tuesday: Atalanta, the early kickoff will host Club Brugge. This game, if you remember last season, these 2 teams met last season, was an absolute banger. 2-1, 3-1, both games ended. Club Brugge advanced, but Atalanta might be looking for revenge this time around. I don't think Ademola Lookman is available to play. He's still not played more than 3 minutes for Atalanta since making his return. But let's see how that one goes. Kairat Almaty will host Real Madrid in what is probably the biggest game of their entire existence as a football club, and I can only wish them the best. It would be the ultimate fairy tale. It would be absolutely brilliant if they can somehow steal this win or get a positive result at home to the mighty Real Madrid. But Real Madrid will come into this game reeling from losing 5-2 to Atletico Madrid. I don't see how it happens. Kairat's first UCL League phase experience was a chastening one. They lost 4-1 to Sporting Club Portugal in the first game, but that was away from home. Maybe this time at home with the advantage of having Real Madrid be the one to make the long trip. Who knows? Anything can happen. Atletico Madrid will host Eintracht Frankfurt, and I expect Atletico to win that one, especially with the confidence that they have from the Real Madrid game. But Frankfurt are also a very, very good team. Scored 6 over the weekend, so don't underestimate them. And Chanuzun has been in fantastic form. Bodo Glimt versus Tottenham. I already mentioned Chelsea versus Benfica. Another game I'm excited to see on Tuesday: Galatasaray versus Liverpool. Will Victor Osimhen play? He's not played since the Super Eagles game against Rwanda, where he picked up an injury. Actually, he came off the bench over the weekend, but didn't play a lot. I think it was just a few minutes. Will he play against Liverpool when Galatasaray hosts them in the Champions League? Remains to be seen. Potential banana peel game. Inter will host Slavia Prague. Marseille will host Ajax, and Paphos in Cyprus will host Bayern Munich. On Wednesday, big games to look forward to, but we start with 2, not so big games. Karabakh versus Copenhagen, and in Azerbaijan, Royal Union Saint-Gilloise will host Newcastle United. Should be an easy win for Newcastle, but USG are a very, very good team as well, and they beat PSV in their first game away from home, so that's a team to keep an eye on. Arsenal host Olympiacos. Barcelona versus PSG. The game of the round, Barcelona PSG. We'll see Luis Enrique against his former club, the current Champions League winners, the current Champions League holders in PSG, the current Ballon d'Or winner against his former club in Ousmane Dembele. PSG and Barcelona have lots of history interwoven with one another, so I can't wait. It looks like it's going to be a phenomenal game. I think that Barcelona might get the better of them, but who knows? PSG are a pretty good team as well, even though they've not been high flying this season. They've not really, even in the league, they've just been, scraping by. But I still think that Barcelona will win. Marcus Rashford is in good form. Lamine Yamal is back. You might have a chance to show Ousmane Dembele that you might have won the Ballon d'Or, but I'm still the best player in the world. And Bayer Leverkusen will host PSV. Dortmund versus Athletic Club Bilbao, Monaco versus Manchester City, Napoli versus Sporting Club Portugal, and Villarreal versus Juventus. So that wraps up the fixtures for Wednesday. In the Europa League on Thursday, AS Roma against Lille, Bologna, Freiburg, Brand, Utrecht, Celtic versus Braga, Football Club, Star Bucharest versus Young Boys, Fenerbahce versus Nice, Ludogorets versus Real Betis, Panathinaikos versus Go Ahead Eagles, Pilsen, Victoria Pilsen versus Malmo, Basel versus Stuttgart, Celta Vigo versus PAOK, FC Porto versus Crvena Zvezda, Red Star Belgrade, Feyenoord hosting Aston Villa, Genk versus Ferencvaros, Lyon versus Salzburg, Maccabi Tel Aviv versus Dinamo Zagreb, Nottingham Forest will host Midtjylland, and Storm Graz will host Rangers. And in the UEFA Europa Conference League, there are also 18 games to look forward to on Thursday. Crystal Palace will go away to Dynamo Kiev, who I don't know if they still play in Ukraine, but they are a Ukrainian team. Jagiellona of Poland will host Amron Spartans, KUPS Drita, Lausanne Breidablik, Lech Poznan versus SK Rapid, FC Noah Yerevan will host Rijeka, Omonia Nicosia against Mainz, Rayo Vallecano against Kendia, Zrinjski against Lincoln Red Imps, Aberdeen versus Shakhtar Donetsk, AK Laneka against AZ Alkmaar, Celje versus AK Athens, Fiorentina versus Sigma Olomouc, Legia Warsaw will host Samsunspor, Rakov will host University Craiova, and Shelbourne Aachen, Slovan Bratislava Strasbourg, Sparta Prague versus Shamrock Rovers. Those are the games to look forward to over the midweek. By the time I return next week Monday, I'll be able to tell you who beat who and give my thoughts on them. But right now, that was the Champions League update. We already gave the NPFL update as well. It's time to now focus on the Nigerian players updates. How did our favorite players perform over the weekend? Let's Eagles Tracker tell it to us. Once again, shout out to Eagles Tracker, with whom I do not have an official partnership. I just like their content and I like the work that they are doing in terms of covering Nigerian players that they've been doing for years. So over this weekend, Gift Monday scored the fastest hat-trick in WSL history as Washington Spirit clinched their spots in the playoffs with a big home victory over Houston Dash. Washington Spirit 4, Houston Dash 0, and Gift Monday scored 3 of those 4 goals. Incredible performance. Hilary Gong came off the bench to score a late equalizer for Spartak Trnava in their away draw at MSK Zelina. 2-2 it ended. Simeon Wanko, that's a sight for sore eyes. I remember Simeon Wanko running riot in the Serie A just before we had Victor Osimhen coming with Napoli. There was Simeon Wanko, scored 18 Premier League goals for Crotone, 18 La Liga, 18 Serie A goals, I beg your pardon. Never forget it. But he net a brace for Al Oroba in an away league victory over Al Akbar in the Saudi Arabian Division 1. So congratulations to Simeon Wanko, who still knows his way around the box 18. Ebenezer Akisomiro made his presence felt in midfield as he impressed for Pisa in their home Serie A draw against Fiorentina. It ended goalless, but Ebenezer Akisomiro, the Nigerian midfielder on loan from Inter Milan to Pisa, newly promoted Pisa, was named the man of the match in that game because he was phenomenal. Everywhere, a fantastic performer. A former Remo Stars player as well, might I add. So, congratulations to him. Akko Adams, I mentioned earlier, opened his goal account for Sevilla since joining, coming off the bench to score the winning goal in an ardent Spanish La Liga victory over Rayo Vallecano. Ended 1-0 Sevilla winning away at Rayo. Aquadams only played 21 minutes, but he scored the winning goal. There is a Nigerian striker running riot in Turkey right now, and it's not Victor Osimhen. It's Paul, the Giant, on Noachu, with a stunning overhead kick before adding one more from the spot in Trabzonspor's thrilling away Turkish Super League victory over Fatih Karagümrük. That game ended 4-3. It's not supposed to be as close as it started. They were leading 4-1, but they ended up conceding 2 goals in a minute to make it 4-3. Paul Onuachu scored twice. The big man enjoying life in Turkey. Olanrewaju Kayode, another name that I'm happy to hear that is still, able to perform and do well at a decent level. Olanrewaju Kayode scored the 6th goal of the season, but Erokspor fell to a narrow home league defeat. 2-3 they lost, but Larry Kayode got his goal. Nnamdi Ofobo impressed again for Barnet as they were held to a draw away at Charlton. He didn't score. That game ended 1-1. For the women, Edna Imade opened her account for the season, finishing from close range in Real Sociedad's away league victory over Badalona. 2-0 it ended. Edna Imade scored one of the 2 goals. It was a tough outing on Friday night for Felix Agu and Victor Boniface, who were both beaten by Bayern Munich 4-0 with Werder Bremen. So that's that on how Nigerian players performed over the weekend, and that, ladies and gentlemen, might just be that on this episode of TNT Talk Sports. My name is Tunde Young. This has been very, 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 very fun to do. Let me just sprinkle one non-football news so that it will not be as if it's just football. But late on Sunday night, actually, we heard that Bad Bunny is going to be headlining the next Super Bowl. So congratulations to Bad Bunny and Bad Bunny lovers. Going from Kendrick to Bad Bunny is certainly an interesting choice. Remember what happened with the last Super Bowl when the Philadelphia Eagles defeated the Kansas City Chiefs and Kendrick Lamar lit up the halftime performance. Well, it's going to be Bad Bunny this time around, so I don't know who's going to be crowned the champion of the NFL, who's going to win the Super Bowl. Is looking unclear right now, even though the NFL has started very, very well. But right now, I have to go. By the next time you hear my voice, Chelsea probably would have beaten Benfica, hopefully. We need this bad run to end. And who knows? There's a lot that is happening in the world of sports. Might have an announcement to come, but let me hold it for now. Also, I have to mention, in the TCC this weekend, there were 6 very good games. 2 of those games had to be rescheduled due to bad weather. The games on Sunday, Sporting Lagos had to reschedule their game, and as well as Beyond Limit against Atlantic Business FC had to reschedule. And even though that game had already kicked off, ABFC was leading 2-1 in 26 minutes. They picked it back up on Monday, and ABFC won by 4-3. So 7 goals to look forward to in that one. So go on YouTube and check out the highlights. But for now, stay on YouTube, subscribe, like, comment, share. Let the algorithm know that you like what you're watching. And until next time, my name is Tunde Young. Bye-bye.